Obviously, this climate right now, we are at a battle of the industry changing, giving more opportunity for women. How is it different than what it was before, and what else do we have to do to continue to press forward?
I think that in the last couple of years, there's been a real acceleration of momentum. People have finally realized that diversity in all aspects of the entertainment industry is good, not just good for people's kind of sense of themselves, but it's good for the bottom line. So these two things come together, right? There are all these stories out there waiting to be told, and you need a diverse group of storytellers, particularly women, to tell those stories. But the only way to make sure that that happens is to have more women at every level of the industry. You know, in the executive suites, in the production offices, on the sets, and I think we're seeing real momentum toward that. I think it'll make a huge difference in the stories that we tell and the ability of people to look at the entertainment that comes out of our industry around the world and see themselves in some aspect of their lives, or to become more familiar with other people's lives and to feel empathy for each other. We're lacking empathy in this country, in this world right now, and I think, again, bringing more women into the conversation at every level is a way to accelerate the increase of empathy.
What do you say to the women who are trying to do that? Maybe there's a woman that's surrounded by male positions and it almost seems impossible to move up, and there are no other women that surround them to support them. What advice would you give to them? Where do they start?
My heart goes out to them, first of all, having been the only woman in many rooms over the years. And I think the most important thing is never forget that your voice, that your particular experience really matters. I think you can feel like it doesn't matter that everybody else has a different view, so you must be wrong. No, you're not wrong. Your point of view, where you come from, how you see the world, what's happened to you, the people that you know, that is so important. So don't give up. Things are getting better. Help is on the way, but just never lose sense of the power of your own voice.
Are there any best practices that you do daily to keep in that mindset when things get hard?
You know, I think it's really helpful to have a network of women, whether they're in your office or in your life, that remind you that you're not crazy, that you're not the only one, right? That there's other people that out there having the same experience, and also even seek it out in the stories that other women tell, whether it's in biographies or news articles. You're not alone. But I think the most important thing is to talk to other people and to reassure yourself again that this is something that a lot of women are going through and have gone through, that it does get better, that it does matter, that mostly that it matters. Because I think women can sometimes come to feel like, oh, it's just me, I'm just one person, it doesn't matter. No, it really, 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 really matters. Stay there, don't give up, don't lose heart, find your sisters and some good brothers, and keep fighting the good fight.
Who do you talk to?
I have a lot of women friends that, I've been at this for a long time. I worked most of my career in politics and now in the entertainment industry. And so I have friends from all of those aspects. And I also talk to my daughter, who's 18, because that's, I understand how important it is to her to see women role models. It's just so important to her that women's voices matter and that they be taken seriously and that our point of view be represented, whether it's in business or politics or entertainment. And that also keeps me committed, because sometimes I think, oh, I've had enough. And then she makes me feel like, no, we got to keep fighting for that next generation.
Who were top 3 people that encouraged you the most in this movement?
Well, I worked for Dianne Feinstein when I was young. She was the first woman politician that I worked for, so she was a huge mentor to me and a role model and somebody that I actually worked for, and I watched how she carried herself and the way she approached being a powerful woman, and that was really, really, really important in my life. I've had a lot of male bosses over the years, but she was really important. I was young and I looked up to her and I thought, okay, that's how you do it. So that was really huge. I would say my daughter, again, for the reasons I just talked about. My daughter inspires me and keeps me committed, because I want the world to look better for her and have opportunities for her. And then after that, I don't know, there's like 100 women who are my peers and my friends, my sister, who I look to all the time. And it really matters.
All of them combined. Yeah. All of them combined into one. Ending on words of affirmation. I'm a big person on words of affirmation. I try to pep myself up daily. I'm confident. I'm strong.
Right.
What are some words of affirmation that you would give yourself in this moment to just prep yourself for the rest of the day?
That it matters, that it really, I mean, I think that's the most important thing, because sometimes you feel like, oh, I've had enough, right? But then you realize, no, it matters, it changes the world. First of all, I think women bring a different life experience, you know. Men and women can do many of the same things, but that doesn't mean we're exactly the same. And so I think it matters so much that we have diverse voices and that women's voices be at the table, that we be counted, not just counted, but that we lead, because the only way to change the world is by broadening the perspective of how we see the world. Like, if we think it's only right here, that only this perspective matters or exists, then we're not going to make the changes that we're going to make when we realize, no, the world is much broader, there's a lot more going on. So in terms of those words of affirmation, it matters, it's worth it, we're making progress, and if we stick together, we really can make a difference. And I have to say that to myself too, that it matters that I'm here, because I say that to other people all the time. And here's one other piece of advice I give women. It's I think so often you'll talk to women, you'll ask them how something went. Oh, you just had a big presentation, how did it go? Well, right, no, start with, it went great, right? I mean, there may have been things you could have done better, but it went great. And if it's the team, then the team worked really hard, and let's start with the things that we do well. And when you hear your friends not owning their accomplishments, stop them in their tracks and say, no, it was great. I was at the conference, you were fantastic. And we have to own our accomplishments. So that's another thing. So I try, sometimes it's hard, you feel a little awkward, you feel a little guilty, but it matters, because if you don't own it, then no one else is going to appreciate it. And if you don't own it for yourself, then how are you going to tell the other women in your life to own it for themselves? So own it, it matters, keep at it.
Dee Dee, you are amazing. Thank you so much.